Oxford Street, Sydney. History. In May 1909, the Sydney Council resolved to widen Oxford Street from 66 feet 20 m to 100 feet 30 m by resuming the entire north side of the street between Liverpool and Burke Streets. The project was carried out in 5 stages between 1910 and 1914. The result was a new boulevard and the creation of a Federation streetscape which remains today largely intact. Trams to Bondi and Broad Beaches traveled down Oxford Street until the line was closed in 1960, replaced by the current bus service. Paddington Reservoir, located on the corner of Oley Road and Oxford Street, is the Paddington Reservoir, a water reservoir which provided water to the Botany Swamps pumping station for the provision of water to parts of Sydney between 1866 and 1899. In 2006, work began to restore and reuse the space of the then derelict Paddington Reservoir. The facility reopened in 2008 as a sunken garden known as the Paddington Reservoir Gardens or Walter Reed Reserve. The facility integrates the remains of the original brick, timber, and iron structure with modern elements of structural, and functional significance which provide access to the sunken garden via stairs and an elevator, as well as ramped access to the rooftop reserve. Victoria Barracks, Victoria Barracks, located in Oxford Street, houses the Headquarters Forces Command Australia, as well as the Army Museum of NSW, which is housed in the original district military prison, constructed in 1800. The barracks was constructed of Hawkesbury sandstone by way of convict labour. The barracks were originally occupied by regiments of the British Army, who vacated the site in 1870. The barracks was the premier military training site in Australia until 1901. For a brief period during the 1930s, Victoria Barracks was home to the Royal Military College, Duntroon, when the college was forced to close its buildings in Canberra and relocate to Sydney due to the economic downturn caused by the Great Depression. Heritage buildings. The following buildings are on the register of the National Estate: Victoria Barracks 1841-48, Paddington Town Hall 1890-91, Paddington Public School 1870 and 1892 buildings, Uniting Church and Parsonage 1877, St. Matthias Church Group 1859-61, former St. Match's Rectory 1873, T3, St. Matthias Church Hall 1882, Post Office 1885, Oxford Street Mall. The pedestrian-only zone of Oxford Street, between Bront Road and Newland Street, Bondi Junction, was converted into a pedestrian mall in 1979. Prior to the 1960, trams ran along that stretch of Oxford Street. Oxford Street Mall was an alternative to shopping at the nearby shopping centres, as it was once home Walton's department store, Fleming's and Woolworths, supermarkets, and a Time Zone arcade. However, these stores have since disappeared prior to the 1990s. Oxford Street Mall is home to numerous shops and cafes and is an entry to many small arcades and shopping centers that are located on this stretch, including Meriton Retail Precinct, Bondi Junction, Bronca Arcade, and the Royal Arcade. Bondi Junction Railway Station can be accessed through the Meriton Retail Precinct on Rowe Street. Bronca and the Royal Arcade provides direct pedestrian passageway to Spring Street and Eastgate Bondi Junction. Westfield Bondi Junction is located on the Bront Road end of Oxford Street Mall. In 2003, Waverley Council upgraded the Oxford Street Pedestrian Mall and embarked on a general upgrade of streets and footpaths in the commercial area. The upgrade included new footpath tiles, addition of shade sails over new in-ground rondels, and artificial tram tracks along the entire mall, paving text as cast inlays and glass bead blasting into paving, and as well as suspended art installations. The artificial tram tracks are the main features of the mall that commemorate the actual tram line that previously passed through. Since 2013, there were plans for a light rail to Bondi Beach going along Oxford Street Mall. However, in November 2017, Waverley Council had voted to reject any proposals for a light rail along Oxford Street or Bondi Road in favor of local businesses. Oxford Street Revival. On 27 June 2011, the Lord Mayor of Sydney, Clover Moore, proposed new directions for Lower Oxford Street, and on 22 August 2011 the Council resolved to undertake a number of short, medium and long-term initiatives to activate city-owned properties in the precinct. After an expression of interest, EOI was put out for creative and cultural organizations to occupy a vacant city-owned property. 16 organizations were announced as being successful applicants and were granted office space as part of the Sydney 2030 plan to revitalize the Oxford Street precinct with creative and cultural organizations. The 16 organizations that were part of this program were